Yes. Okay. Hello, my name is MJ. First of all, thank you very much for having me. And I'm sorry, this is nap time, very bad timing for this, solid topic to discuss, but well, I hope you enjoy. Let me introduce you to this today. I know that back in 2019, I think it was software as a service, the word of the moment. Then back in 2022, it was blockchain, the word of the moment. Okay, welcome to 20,000, when it is artificial intelligence. So let's take a look at the impacts of artificial intelligence on cybersecurity. I wanted to, sorry. Sorry. Now, I wanted to introduce myself, just want you to know that I'm into threat intelligence. I'm not a red teamer, not an incident responser. I'm most of my time into the intelligence thing, and apart from cybersecurity, I'm passionate about flying the world, playing sports, and New York City. If you have any question about that, I know more about New York City than artificial intelligence and threat intelligence. Well, in a nutshell, right? Let's introduce the topic. What is the gist of what really interests us from a cybersecurity perspective regarding artificial intelligence? I don't want a very solid introduction or description or, let's say, definition, okay? Okay, the most important things are three things from my perspective. Artificial intelligence simulates human behavior, it replicates the structure of the human brain, and it also learns from data. I'm sure that you all are familiar with artificial intelligence, and all of you use them on a daily basis. I do myself. Those are my four favorite ones, most favorite ones. Okay, what are the implications of the use of artificial intelligence from a cybersecurity perspective? In the one hand, its automation capacity is massive. Massive, the automation capacity this technology has. It also has a very strong computing capacity. And finally, it learns, as we said. So, in a nutshell, artificial intelligence makes cybersecurity and cyber threats bigger than ever because of threat actors, obviously, exploiting artificial intelligence and artificial intelligence tools. They enhance conventional cyber attacks. You can think of many examples. I'll show you some of them later on. But also, threat actors can manipulate artificial intelligence models, making them even more dangerous. And, of course, there is some unwilling exposure affecting and impacting cybersecurity from the use of artificial intelligence, like, for example, in terms of data privacy, sensitive information can be used for training and can be leaked, and also there's another point, which is bias, and, well, this is not the, the gist of our presentation today, but that could, let's say that could be another presentation, but anyway, what is the challenge for us of threat actors using artificial intelligence? Well, that means a huge, massive capability uplift. What they were able to do before, in terms of the scale, sophistication, and speed, it is massive now. Let's see some examples. Of course, impersonation, social engineering, spear phishing, well, it bolstered scope and efficiency, lowered the barrier of technical skills for non-very sophisticated threat actors, we'll see that, and also reconnaissance. This is my favorite, because this is what I do as for as my daily tasks, so to speak, doing digital footprint analysis. And, well, threat actors can look for better targets and also look in a better way for vulnerabilities to exploit. Also, discovering and exploiting 0 days, of course, identifying them, and also creating custom malware to exploit. We'll look into that later on. And also compromising the very artificial intelligence systems, manipulating them, degrading performance, reliability, and also security-related consequences, like for our compliance or for financial loss. Regarding degrading performance and reliability, well, I think that's an issue. Maybe it might not be today, but it might be in a few years when we have all incorporated artificial intelligence in our daily basis, if we are not doing that so. But let's focus for a minute in compromising artificial intelligence systems. let me present you with Google Security Artificial Intelligence Framework. It's called SAIF, SAIF risks. Google has identified or ruled the possibility of compromising artificial intelligence systems in two levels or two phases: when the model is being created and when the model is being used. In terms of creation, of course, there are two main factors. On the one hand is manipulating data, and on the other hand is manipulating infrastructure. And well, what is the most important part for me, which is model application. At model usage, the use of application. And well, Google has some controls and some theoretical controls on this, how to mitigate them. But I think today the topic is analyzing all of those, all of this framework, how it impacts cybersecurity, and what can we do as cybersecurity defenders. So let me show you a little bit in detail those risks identified by Google, but I would like to focus on the ones that really impact cybersecurity from a direct standpoint from my perspective. Of course, at the timing of creating artificial intelligence models, well, definitely there are some data poisoning and things and stuff, but I think it's the key word here is using, I think, because, well, let's think of the idea. Of course, we can get poisoned artificial intelligence into use, but I think the most likely situation is that we use some existing models like the ones that we have previously seen of general use, even if all the models can be applied to all different tasks. And well, as I said, I expect in the future to artificial intelligence models being there worldwide, and well, tampering them at the creator phase will be an issue, but let's focus on today, okay? I think there are some hybrid risks at the moment of creation and consuming, but also some that are exclusively at the consuming time from Google SAIF perspective, and I think they are worth pointing out. Yes, in terms of the creation, even if I didn't say, I wasn't going to focus on them. I want you to take a look at them. Well, data poisoning, unauthorized training data, model source tampering, and excessive data handling. I can think of two examples at the moment of some of them. Regarding unauthorized training data, I remember back in 2023 when Spotify removed some content because there were some songs that were being created learning from the training data, from illicit training data, so which was funny. And regarding excessive data handling, I can think of a good example, but it's I think it's almost everywhere. It was not too long ago. I don't remember the exact date, but I'm thinking of Samsung, when Samsung banned the use of artificial intelligence in the whole company because of excessive data handling. All the processing, all the retaining, all the data, all the database was massive. Well, but let's move on to these hybrid risks that Google describes, and those are the this phase of model creation and consuming. Of course, model exfiltration, when the model is being exfiltrated. I think there is a good example of this one as well. I remember, I think it was, I don't know in English, but it's LLAM, I think is the artificial intelligence Gen I of Meta. Well, it was leaked in a underground market, like 24 hours or something after it was released, and well, it was obviously unwillingly. But let's focus on model deployment tampering, which is one of special interest from a cybersecurity perspective. Well, that means the modification of components, as you can see, used for deploying a model deployment, basically. Prompt injections, this is my favorite. This is causing a model to execute commands injected inside a prompt. We'll see an example of that later on. Model evasion, of course, and sensitive data disclosure. This is, I think, one of the most serious nowadays. I don't know if I've told you that I work for a company that is into the yachting industry and maritime industry. Well, I remember once doing like some playing with ChatGPT and finding out the data of an actual contract of a yachting management company in the yachting industry of one of our customers. Well, there you go. You know, they were using the model just unconsciously. And also, of course, inferred sensitive data, when the model is capable of inferring the data, and this inference is actually true. Finally, well, those are the ones that interest us, I think, or cybersecurity defenders the most. And yes, and let's move on to the third category of risks identified by Google, which are the ones on the consumer side, on the consumer end. Denial of service, of course, you just have to translate the concept of denial of service to artificial intelligence, reducing reliability and stuff. Reverse engineering, insecure integrated components. There are some times when all the models have some vulnerabilities within the software, libraries, or whatever it uses. And insecure model output, of course. Well, the output is not appropriately validated, and you know, results can be really, really messy and get some risks. And of course, rogue actions, but well, that is more of physical. Yeah, this is the Gemini and Google approach. Let us move on a little bit to the MITRE Atlas. The MITRE Atlas is basically the database created by MITRE. Well, with a knowledge base. And let me tell you something. Of course, they have introduced all the techniques and the moments, all the particularities of how artificial intelligence can exploit or can use the MITRE framework. And of course, my purpose is not describing you all of them. I just wanted to be aware of this, the existence of this, and to check it, because it's really, really curious to understand how artificial intelligence really works. Because let me tell you that I have been working on this for 1.5 years, trying to investigate and dig into the risks to translate it into my daily practice. And you know, the lack of transparency is massive, so this can get you a very good insight. Well, I also invite you to take a look at the MITRE Atlas Navigator, and you can see here in green, you can see the specific functionalities that can be enhanced by the use of artificial intelligence. I think it's very curious and it's very interesting. Oh, I wanted to provide you with an example. Before going into the example, a quick one, by the way. I don't know, but I'm sorry. Everybody's talking about how artificial intelligence is empowering threat actors and all attacks and everything, but you know what? Most of the examples I can find, they are research in a lab by some companies and together with universities. This is a very good example of this. And most of them, by the way, they are registered in the MITRE Atlas case studies database, which is a good one, but some of them are date back to 2019, 2020, very old ones. For me, it was hard to find one some recently. Well, this was well, it's a worm that was developed by developers in a lab, and with a zero-click. Well, it was able to replicate from one model to another without doing anything, and then tampering results. In a nutshell, you can have. Well, here is all the detail, but anyway, we don't have so much time, and I want to tell you about some other things. Well. Let's go back to reality, okay? We have seen some of the research. Well, some cases that were publicly published and that we have seen. Android malware, iOS malware steals faces to defeat biometrics with artificial intelligence swaps. Well, I don't know. My mom, she has a twin sister, and you know, when my mom's sister, she can unlock my mom's face, my mom's mobile, and she uses no artificial intelligence. But anyway, this is something. Yeah. Well, but this is something that you know, it's going to happen more and more, I guess. This is a tricky one, or a good one. I will talk about this at the very, very end of the presentation, how attackers can scam people by getting them getting emotional because they think that they are listening to the faces of their loved ones. Oh, this is another wood one. I'm sure you have heard of it. That was last year, I think. Yes, it was February 2024 when somebody thought that he was getting a Teams meeting call from the CFO of the company and ordered a bank transfer for 25 million. Well, anyway, using deepfake. And well, I really like cars, so this one struck me when I heard that the Ferrari CEO was impersonated. But well, I think eventually it was disclosed, but I think that I don't remember, but I think nothing happened. But they didn't lose money, but it was a good try. Okay, going again, trying to go into real life cases. I don't know if you have seen this report by ChatGPT. Well, the company that has created that model about the use of malicious actor of ChatGPT. Well, there is some information on information operation, the use of it for influence, for hybrid war, for deep news, fake news, sorry, and stuff. But well, to be honest, the only real report or reports that I have found with information on how threat actors are using artificial intelligence is the one of Gemini. It's called Gemini Report on Adversarial Misuse of Generative Intelligence. And let me share with you their conclusions. There are a handful of cases, the majority of low-effort experimentation, just to jailbreak prompts and trying to bypass safety controls. But that is the bulk of the user. There are some malicious actors trying to use Prompt Gemini for guidance on how to abuse Google products, which is fun. And, well, there are some government-backed attackers that were trying to do some coding, some scripting, gathering some information for reconnaissance, researching unknown vulnerabilities, and, well, enabling post-compromise activities like defense evasion. Again, let me go back just for a moment. Why are we focusing on what Google is saying of the use of artificial intelligence? Because as cybersecurity defenders and practitioners, I mean, it's still very difficult to find real examples apart from the ones from the news. Well, I think during lunch, I was discussing with some of you about APTs and nation states, and well, that is something I'm really interested in for personal reasons. And well, this Gemini report dedicates some sections to talk about how threat actors, real threat actors, the big ones, are using artificial intelligence and their artificial intelligence. And when, well, it is surprising, it's a curiosity, is the fact that Iran threat actors are like the heaviest users, and they use it for a wide range of purposes, including research on defense organizations and vulnerability research. Well, of course, crafting phishing and conducting reconnaissance. Well, they are interested in the US and all the defense organizations in the Western countries, and, well, also generating content on cybersecurity. This is particularly APT 42. I think Google, or the report says that in Iran, I think there are like 22 APT registered that use Gemini as artificial intelligence Gen I model. Well, Chinese, of course, well, they basically use it for reconnaissance, scripting, development, troubleshooting code, and well, on a research on how to get deeper access to targets. And, well, topics they are interested in, as you can see, lateral movements, privilege escalation, data exfiltration, and detection evasion. North Korea, interesting one as well. Well, they have used it to support several parts of the attack lifecycle, including research, reconnaissance, payload development, assistance with scripting, of course, evasion techniques, and research on topics of interest for North Korea, like cryptocurrency and the Korean and some military, South Korean military things, and also US military infrastructure. And something that is funny to me as well, which is also curious is the fact that they have a very strong policy of infiltrating Western corporations. So, they're trying to embed North Korean workers into Western countries, companies. So, well, they have used artificial intelligence to enhance their power to be hired, and yes, that is that is curious from my perspective. Finally, Russia. With Russian, there is something curious as well. Remember that we are talking about Gemini only, okay? We have no reliable data on ChatGPT apart from the fake news creating and some other things of that like. But they are not using Gemini at all, or if not at all, they're very are using that very limitedly. We don't know if it is because they don't want to disclose information, as the other ones are doing, on what are their interests on the model, or I don't know, any other reason, or maybe because they don't find it interesting or useful. We don't know. I think it might, from my perspective, probably it is the former, but anyway. Still, the only use they have done, it has been focused on converting artificial intelligence model and developments into different developing languages. Well, and adding encryption functions as well. Just to give you just a big picture, but or a short picture, short picture of how they're doing them for the different phases of the life cycle of the attack. Well, for the phase of reconnaissance, Iran is doing reconnaissance on experts, international defense, topic related to Iran and Israeli proxy conflicts. North Korea is doing research on companies across multiple sectors and geographies. The US military and operations in South Korea, like we said, and on free hosting providers, free hosting vendors. This is curious as well. China, US military, US-based IT service providers, understanding public database of US intelligence personnel. Let me tell you that there are some public evidence as well that the Chinese has a similar policy like the one we have seen in North Korea, trying to embed Chinese workers into different corporations worldwide to get information. And just let me get a little bit sidetracked just for a second, and going back to my threat intelligence background, well, you all will be very aware that most of the Chinese, well, not most, but a huge amount of Chinese activity in the cyberspace is related to cyber espionage and their interest on that. But anyway, and they are also doing some research on target networks, okay, and determining domain names of targets. Next phase, weaponization. You can see what they are doing here. Here we don't have much information on who is doing what, but well, basically developing and conversing, rewriting, and things related to encryption as well. Regarding delivery, what they're doing, better understanding, advanced phishing techniques, generating content again, generating on defense organizations and on generating content like we saw with artificial intelligence themes. In terms of exploitation, reverse engineering, endpoint detection, access Microsoft Exchange using password hashes, research vulnerabilities in WinRM protocol, understand publicly reported vulnerabilities. Anyway. Regarding installation, signing on Outlook Visual Studio Tools for Office, plug in and deploy it silently to all computers, add a self-signed certificate. Anyway, you can read them all there. I just wanted you to have some bullets, some ideas of how it is, the practice of how it is used for the different, like I said, stages of the attack life cycle. Command and control, establishing communication channels with the compromised systems. Well, here you have some examples of what they're doing, and action and objectives, achieving the goal, okay? for example, data theft or disruption or whichever it is. What are my overall conclusions after reading this report and doing some research, trying to combine it? There is another good, very good report I will mention later on, but it's related to this one, and it's been published by the UK National Cybersecurity Centre. It has some inputs as well. My overall conclusions are that, like I said, nowadays, most of the current discourse and misuse about artificial intelligence is confined to theoretical research. Yes, there is a huge potential, but they don't really reflect nowadays the reality of the threat landscape we face. We would expect a disruptive change that is not taking place, but it depends on the profile of the actor. Skilled actors take advantage and harness artificial intelligence in quite an efficient way, while less skilled actors, they learn, they use it as a productivity tool, they also have experienced a decrease of the technical skills required for cyber attacking, but anyway, this is most of it. And also, two conclusions I have is how artificial intelligence and LLA, large language models, can be used by threat actors to accelerate their campaigns, speed, again. Remember that I called it an uplift, capability uplift. And also, it can be used to instruct artificial intelligence agents to take malicious actions. I work for a company that has a SOC, so I wanted to present you, two cases that we have seen within our SOC incident response and monitoring activities, like the practice. I presented you Gemini, and I wanted to present you what we have seen. Unfortunately, we have had scarce, fortunately, if we think of it from the point of view of our customers, we have seen very, very few examples of incidents involving artificial intelligence from the side of the threat actor and the malicious actor. And this one was an rat. I think there's a spelling mistake there. Infection using BVS script and JavaScript, we just were analyzing an email a customer received, and it was trying to be posted as an invoice by means of social engineering, and it deployed on a sync rat, and after analyzing the code, we found that there were some comments left by the attacker, and that it had used an Gen I tool to create it. The criticality was high, of course, because it allowed for remote access, but sophistication was also high. And in contrast, the second one, it was probably the one of the biggest, not biggest incident, of course not, but the biggest fake invoice one of our customers has paid. Criticality, of course, was high because of the amount, 40K they paid to an alleged vendor, but the sophistication was very, 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 very low. Just it was an invoice generated by artificial intelligence, and like I mentioned at the beginning, it's quite the seed to this success was the fact that these models of artificial intelligence models are using by us every day on a daily basis for productivity, and we are unwillingly exposing data, and malicious actors and someone looking for it, they can really find items and pieces of information that really can make credible an invoice for someone that is paying invoices for years on a daily basis. Anyway, I also like playing myself, so I decided, this is just for fun, but I wanted to show you some tests we run at the SOC, at our laboratory, just trying to, type in some prompts just to create, well, for example, this case, it was like trying to create a text for somebody to think that somebody is in distress and provide financial aid. Then we also did try to create phishing, and well, here I just wanted to compare how it looks like. Well, of course, I know what you're going to say now. Of course, the first example, which is a traditional phishing, it has it's not only that is not very well written, but it is the aspects. And the second one is just ChatGPT. So we would need somebody to put that in a nice way or the same way to compare, but it's still, you know, it's the quality of the text. I'm sure that you have always received, if you go to your spam folder, you will see plenty of the first type of scams, even if they are stopped. But anyway, Voice Lab, we did some voice cloning as well. And yes, you can just clone your voice. And you know, I remember somebody in my team that was unable to spot whose voice was the good one, her or the Voice Lab one. And I ran another test with another tool, which was 11 Labs. And here I have my impression was that the quality of the cloning was not that good. I've been told that you couldn't use ChatGPT for malicious purposes. You could, if you asked it, could you please code a ransomware for me? It would answer, I cannot. It's illegal, of course. But we started to playing with the prompts, and you know, it just it knows how to do it. You just have to know how to answer. And well, this is a very, very short screenshot of the whole conversation. But anyway, you can get an idea that if you have some developing knowledge, you can do a couple of things. And as I said, this whole artificial intelligence thing, it's an uplift capability for small-time crooks and script kiddies and people like me that we don't really are not very, very, very good at it. Anyway, of course, I was wondering, malicious actors use artificial intelligence existing models. Artificial intelligence existing models, they have some, sorry. Okay. They have some, let's say, limits or so, okay? I'm absolutely sure that they are developing their own malicious artificial intelligence tools. So I got into the dark web, I went into the underground communities, breach forums, xss.is, you know the rest. And well, I found out WormJPT and all the things you could do with it, which was something, I have to say, I didn't try it because of obvious reasons, but it was illegal. It is illegal. I work for a legit company, but anyway, I think it was fun. And I also found Evil GPT and all the functionalities apparently that it has. And I also found XXX JPT, which I liked it because of all the wide bunch of things it can do, or it says it can do. I think it would be great if we could take a chance to test them. Anyway, let's move on. How can artificial intelligence risks can be mitigated with artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence, like we said, is a very powerful tool. It can enhance malicious activities, but it also can enhance defensive activities. It can be applied for different cybersecurity processes, like threat detection, flagging suspicious activities, telemetry in real time. As we mentioned at the beginning, the automation capacity, the volume of data it can process, it turns into a very powerful thing. Also with vulnerability assessment, okay? Well, of course, pinpointing exploitable weaknesses. And in terms of incident response. Of course, it can help triage, assessing alerts, and, well, helping analysts dedicate their time and not doing all the triage rather than focusing on the actual alerts when they have been triaged properly. Accuracy the volume of data, because of the speed it has, because of the accuracy it has, if it's well trained, of course, and anticipation capacity, it is a very powerful tool. But here's my question. I don't know how many of you have been trying to assess the performance of artificial intelligence applied to cybersecurity defensive tools. I have loads of vendors that come to me and say, my EDR is the best, my CM is the best, it incorporates artificial intelligence, but I cannot see how. There is a huge lack of transparency. So, I don't know. I think we'll have to dig a little bit more on this. How can we demonstrate that the models they are being used in the first place, that they are being applied to that technology, and how they perform? I was just trying to investigate on this and this and this, and I found a curious example. Not curious, but one that I thought it was not worth noting. Magica. This is Google, again. This is a file type identification for malware detection, and the important thing here is this, is that they, for the first time, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you have some other examples, I'm open to them. I'm really, really curious to see this delivery performance assessment, how it helps or it compares to other tools in terms of malware quality and compared to different solutions, okay? Magica. Well, let's give it a try if you have time and check, right? Let's move on. What to expect in terms of cybersecurity and artificial intelligence and attackers using artificial intelligence. Of course, an increase in the use of artificial intelligence for many things. Very, like I said, not rocket science, very, very rudimentary things, very basic things like phishing and stuff. Of course, all the deepfakes for identity fraud, voice cloning, and so on and so forth, even know your customers, processes. Let's see, there are loads of applications. An increase, of course, of the artificial intelligence used for vulnerability research, code development, and reconnaissance, since it's very powerful, like I said, for identifying the best targets to touch and to attack, and for identifying the level of exposure of the targets. Also, threat actors will be able to analyze exfiltrated data, I think, faster and more effectively. Also, the time is going to, between the release of security updates and the time with the attackers exploiting those vulnerabilities is going to be faster. It's going to be a challenge, I think. This is one of the one that I think it's very important from a practical perspective, okay, for cybersecurity practitioners and defenders. Also, more sophisticated uses of artificial intelligence operations are likely to be restricted to, and this is key, right, to threat actors with the resources, with the quality, with data, training data that have good quality, with time and with significant expertise. If you think of this, that leaves out loads of different threat actors. Apart from nation-state-backed and criminal groups, organized criminal groups, I think those sophisticated use are going to be reduced. So basically, it's going to be, I'll show you a chart in 1 minute, and you will see my prognosis of how it's going to do. So basically, very powerful threat actors, very skilled threat actors, they will be the ones that are going to benefit from artificial intelligence, Gen I models. Also, there is going to be an increase, I think, in underground forums, in underground markets, in the dark web, and everywhere of LLM models that are unlimited, like the ones we saw, like fraud. Well, fraud I didn't mention, but this is another one, XXS GPT and Warm GPT and everything. And well, here let me just add the last one, which is not that relevant for us at the moment. Don't know if it will be in the future, maybe, but is related with geopolitics. It's the fact that, well, nation-state-backed actors will continue with their information operations, because, as I like to say, you know, the war nowadays, it used to be by sea, by air, by land, and now it's also in the cyberspace. So I think cyber threats are another weapon to be used in geopolitical confrontations between countries, so it's going to be an issue. Anyway, here is my impact assessment for the next 2 years. Since everything goes so fast, I wanted to do like a 5-year strategic assessment, but I didn't dare. I just took these next 2 years' time. And how are they going to benefit from artificial intelligence? Well, like I said, high-capable state threat actors, they will really benefit in intent, in capability, for social engineering, for exfiltration, moderately for reconnaissance, and for developing tools for malware or exploits. And, well, from lateral movement, I'm not that sure. It's not that I have many data, but I'm not that sure. In between the high-capable and the less skilled threat actors, we have like the capable, some organized cybercrime groups. Needless to say that there are some organized cybercrime groups that should be considered in the first place, or in the first category, but anyway, let's put it like this, not to be so scary. And I think they will also be able to benefit quite a lot, but a little bit less than high-capable state threat actors. And finally, less skilled hackers, well, they, like I said, opportunistic hackers, well, they will benefit, but not that much. They don't harness it so much. And depending, again, on the threat actor profile, what are the implications this use, from my perspective, is going to have for cybersecurity? Well, highly capable state threat actors, they will be best placed to harness artificial intelligence, artificial intelligence tools, and they will use it for advanced operations. The second capability, well, it would be a capability uplift, like I said, for reconnaissance, social engineering, exfiltration, and artificial intelligence-enabled tools like XXSTPT, and less skilled hackers or hackers for hire or opportunistic cyber criminals, hacktivists, for example. Well, I think they will just get their barrier load to entry to effective scalable access operations. And, well, also volume. Don't forget about volume. They will increase their capacity to do at the speed. So for me, expertise, equipment, time, and financial resourcing is going to be key on what to expect. Well, this is just my wrap-up to this. So what can we do? How can we enhance cybersecurity in the light of artificial intelligence? I think we have to, of course, deal with the technical perspective. Of course, apply cybersecurity measures that can be efficiently deployed, like enable security protocols, monitor and support capabilities, all of this. Tools using, trying to get technologies that use artificial intelligence and try to assess and get vendors to show and to demonstrate how they enhance their cybersecurity capabilities. And also, well, for example, for CMSOR, and also a human perspective. And this is something that I always recommend to whoever is my audience in any of the presentations I have the chance to have. The human perspective is always key, even if we have the most sophisticated technology in the whole world, like artificial intelligence, we can always defeat it from if we have taken, or the human's perspective have a huge weight in this. Of course, awareness training, of course, having always a suspicious mindset, and controlling different factors. When there is something that is urging you to do something, be suspicious. If there is something that is making you getting emotionally, like remember the example of these scammers faking the voice of one of our loved ones in distress. Well, if you're getting too emotional, stop. There is a red flag there. And finally, my favorite factor, the smartest. How about when you have the chance to buy an iPhone 13, 16 Pro Max for 400 euros? You're going to be very happy. You're going to say, listen, you know, I got this much, much, much cheaper. Another red flag. Be careful, because probably it's something you should doubt about. And I think that's a wrap for me, guys. I just hope you enjoy, and thank you very much.